And good evening. Welcome to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, with you here to call the JV contest, which is already in progress. And here we have a foul called against Eduardo's first, the team's third. The basket for the Blue Darters is good. Scored by number 22, John Lohman. And, of course, our goal is always to bring you the complete and total varsity game. And if we are able to set up early, then we do what we can to bring as much of the JV contest to you as we can. And so that is what we're doing tonight. We are just about 2.5, 3 minutes into the second quarter here, and it has been a dominant start for the Blue Darters after the Mustangs won the freshman game handily. The Darters had a commanding lead to open up the game, and the Mustangs had a little burst at the beginning of the second quarter to pull it to 10 here. And we're going to get a foul called at the other end. McHale is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot two for the Mustangs. Foul called against number 22. Jaquan Lohman is first. And that's the team's fourth. Chris Daniels and Omar Lumberbachin. For 2 at the line for McHale. Steal. Blocked. Ball from Hall, and we'll get a steal at the other end. Nakai Martinez is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot two for the Darters. Foul is called against Mustangs number 24, Jamie Oliver. It's his second personal foul, the team's fourth. Second free throw is good, and that puts the Darters up to an 11-point lead, 24-13 the score, just about halfway through the second quarter. Foul called against Darters number 22, Juwan Lohman. His second personal foul, the team's fifth. Checking into the game for the Blue Darters, number 23, Austin Lohman. Foul called against number 20, Miles Hall, his first, the team's 6th.
Outside hand. Ball cross. First. Don't eat. Be aggressive. There you go.
Oliver can't get it to go from the top of the key, and a steal here off the rebound by Sermons will set up a layup, but it won't go for Oliver. Darters get the rebound, try to score in transition. It's deflected away by Javier and stolen ultimately by Nikhil Edouard. Wide open, and he's got it. Jammer Hammond to Tay Reed. Good look on the layup from the Blue Darters. Won't go. They managed to scramble for the offensive rebound. Another short shot. Sermon's going to dive for it. Doesn't have an option, but he's managed to bounce it off of a Blue Darter and keep it in Mustang control.
Back up, Pud. Get back here. Get to the middle floor now. Push up. Drop it. Two hands.
Shot won't go for number 10, and the rebound goes to Studstill. Tries to go coast to coast, but Jalen Studstill is fouled. The foul is called against Darters number 3, Myrick Davis. That's his first personal foul, the team's 7th. And that was not a shooting foul, but it does put the Mustangs into bonus. Jalen Studstill shooting 1-1.
Get to the middle floor, son. Look opposite and pitch the ball. Solid.
Offensive foul is called against number 33, Justin Diaz. That's his first personal foul, the team's 8th. No bonus shots on offensive fouls, but it turns them all over to the Mustangs.
Set your toe. Kick it. There you go. On the hill.
3-point basket by Fletcher Charles. Pass from John Veer. And so the 3-point basket by Charles will give the Mustangs some badly needed momentum. They now trail by just 6 and keeping themselves alive in this ball game in spite of the fact that Apopka has largely been outplaying them for the first 2 quarters. Less than a minute now to go in the first half. Diaz fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Darters. Foul called against Mustangs, number 23, Jalen Janvier. His second personal foul, the team's 5th. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Alan Wembley. Also in for the Mustangs, Jamie Oliver.
Everybody know who they got? Time out, sir. Time out.
And Coach Graham wanted a timeout, but he's lucky he didn't get it because he got a steal and a timeout instead. The Darters will request their first timeout of the game. 30-second timeout called by Apopka.
Press on white, press on blue. So white, so white.
Less than 30 seconds to go here in the first half. Darters have a chance to extend their lead back to 10 or 11, and they won't do it, though. Wembley gets the rebound. Mustangs are now likely to have the last word. Three-point basket by Fletcher Charles. The pass from Jamie Oliver. And the basket is good. It is just before time expires. And so that answer will come from Austin Lohman, number 23. And that takes us back to an 8-point ball game. 29-21 is the score going into the locker rooms.
All right. White ball coming back. White ball coming back. You switched it already. White ball coming back.
They switched it already?
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Mustang Arena. We also welcome those of you who are listening online. We do now have our webcast going. Our goal every game is to always get the full varsity game webcast on YouTube and the NFHS network. However, if we get the equipment set up early, then we will go ahead and start streaming, and that is just what we have done. So, if you have friends and family who are stuck in the rain, stuck in traffic, stuck at work, stuck at home, or anywhere in the world, send them a text message or a Facebook message right now. Let them know that they can join us virtually. We are online right now. The channel is called Wekiva Sports. That's Wekiva Sports on YouTube. Or if you are a member of the NFHS network, you can also get the live stream from there. You can also get the link directly from our website, WekivaMustangs.com. If you are not in a position that you can watch the full live stream, but you would still like to follow along in real time, you can also do that at nearly all of our home games this season by going to WekivaMustangs.com/scoreboard. That's WekivaMustangs.com/scoreboard. If you go to that link, you'll see a live feed of exactly what you see on the wall. As a matter of fact, it's more than what you see on the wall. It's what you would see on the wall if we paid about $20,000 to upgrade the scoreboard. And again, that is on our website, WekivaMustangs.com/scoreboard. For those of you who are listening to us online, we're going to mute the audio here in the arena so that we do not run afoul of any copyright policies on YouTube, and we'll be back with the second half of JV action between the Mustangs and Blue Darters in about 8 minutes. And welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Parchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with you for the second half of JV basketball action. The Blue Darters here to visit the Mustangs. We're going to get a three-point basket right now. Number 22, Juan Lohman for three. And that'll open up second half scoring for us here at Mustang Arena. Always a tough series between these two teams. Once we get to the varsity contest, it'll be Scott Williams, the original coach of the Mustangs, who opened the school 12 years ago, taking on his own protege, and Jacino Lubin, who was an assistant under Scott Williams when the school first opened, and then went on to be the head coach at Colonial, and now has returned home to Wekiva, where he is now the head coach. Both coaches very successful in their own right. Both coaches have been to the Lakeland Center, or I suppose now the RP Funding Center, as it's now called. Putback is not going to go for the Mustangs. And yet another chance coming up for Wekiva here as the rebound goes to Fletcher Charles. Charles, short. Rebound to Smith to the other end in transition. No call. Oh, no, there is a call. It's just a little late. Mustang foul is called against number 23, Jalen Janvier. That's his third personal foul, the team's first this half. And it will send the Blue Darters to the free throw line. Shooting two for Apopka, number 21, Nakai Martinez. Nikhil Edward in for the Mustangs. One more shot for number 21. That's Nakai Martinez as he hits his first. That extends the Blue Darter lead to 12. Mustangs hanging on to stay in there, but they're still struggling to recover from a slow start early in the first quarter, and they have not made back those points yet. Stopped in the backcourt as Wembley loses his dribble, but he's able to get it off to Hammond just in time. Hammond for three, no good. And a nice rebound for Lohman. Darter basket scored by number 4, Corey Smith. And we'll pause briefly to get the net untangled there. And the Mustangs now going to try and see if they can get something happening in transition. Wembley blinked. And that was just enough time for the Darters to get in there and steal. Mustang foul is called against number 4, Fletcher Charles. That's his first personal foul. The team's second this half, and it will send number 32, Omar Lumberbach, to the line, shooting two. Second is no good, out of bounds, and they're going to say that that went off of Apopka. Charles will get to inbound from their own baseline. Oliver in trouble, and he's going to get forced to traveling. Darters ball. Bad pass goes out of bounds, and the Mustangs will take over at their own baseline. Charles nearly loses the ball to a steal by Martinez. Gets it back under control. Too hot from Edouard from the baseline, and the Darters get the rebound. Hammond going to try to go coast to coast himself, and Jamrick Hammond is fouled on the way up. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. The Darter foul called against number 32. Omar Lumberbach, that's his first personal foul, the team's first this half. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Simeon McKell. And that free throw is actually the first point of the half for the Mustangs. And now make it the first 2. Darters, for their part, have been a little bit sluggish this quarter compared to their first half. They have just 6. And they're not able to make it 8, though. It bounces out of bounds, and the ruling on the court is still Darters ball. Hammond had an opportunity to steal there, but he is just able to deflect it out of bounds. Darters get another shot. Go long. Again, Hammond with an opportunity, but needs to grow a couple more inches to steal that one. Lumberbach continues to be frustrated by the basket, and this time the rebound goes to Jamie Oliver. Oliver down the sideline. He's got Charles at the baseline. Ball comes loose under the key, and it's Simeon McKell on the Mustang basket. No points for style on that play, but the points count all the same. Good look there for Martinez, but couldn't get it to fall. And a number of personnel changes coming up here. Jalen stood still for 2. And just like that, the Mustangs are back in it, and a steal is going to give Wekiva some life here. They've gone back to a 6-6 tie for the third quarter, so they're back to the same deficit they had at halftime. 3 won't go for Charles. Mustangs need to make up 8 here with 11 minutes left to play. Jump shot made by Fletcher Charles. Put back made by number 32, Omar Lumberbach. And we'll pause here for a timeout. Full timeout requested by the Blue Darters. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Again, the Mustangs making some progress against the deficit that was established in the first quarter, but they still have a little ways to go here. They're down by 8 points, 29-37, as we have about 2 minutes left in the third period. Foul is called against Darters number 22, Juwan Lohman. It's his third personal foul, the team's second, and it sends the Mustangs to the free throw line. Simeon McKell shooting 2. 3-point basket scored by Jalen Studstill. And at the other end, we're going to get a turnover by the Blue Darters, and the Mustangs are going to have an opportunity to really cut into that lead. Again, Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, joining you for this JV contest. And as we expect the varsity contest to be an epic one, we're all trying to get everything into place early, which is why we're able to bring this to you at all. With the second, third, and fourth quarters here at Mustang Arena. And also getting set up early is Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. He'll be joining us for the entire varsity game, but welcome to the last 9.5 minutes of the JV contest, Neil.
Well, thank you again, Mark. As always, it's good to be back here at Mustang Arena.
Jump shot from the baseline by Jalen Studstill.
So after a long day of putting a newspaper together, looks like I showed up here at the right time. Wekiva making this run. I believe that's 7 in a row now.
Yeah, the Mustangs had trailed. I'd have to go back and look at the scorebook, but I know the Mustangs have trailed by double digits in this game. Foul is called against Corey Smith of the Blue Darters. It's his first, the team's third. Checking into the game for Apopka. Chris Daniels, Omar Lumberbach, and Nakai Martinez.
So it looks like turnovers have been the catalyst for this. I've seen 3 of them in the last 5 possessions. And
now the Mustangs are going to commit one. Not able to capitalize on it, though, as McKell gets the rebound. Try to get something done in transition here. A wide open Studstill is not able to drain the 3, and the rebound goes to the Darters.
So good job there on the boards by Apopka. Of course, as you mentioned, the varsity team will be following this game. That's always, as Keith Jackson liked to say, a barn burner, even though the varsity team is off to a slow start at 3-6. Apopka with a shot here to get the last point of the quarter.
3-point basket by Juwan Lohman. And so, Neil, it looks like the Mustangs' burst of energy may be short-lived, although if they could end this quarter with just a 6-point deficit, or maybe 3, no, not 3, it'll be a 6-point deficit, as that takes us to the end of the third period. And it is a third period where the Mustangs scored 13 to the Darters 11, cutting in 2 points to the halftime deficit. Now a 6-point ball game, 40-34 is the score going into the final 8 minutes of the JV contest. Mustangs have the opening possession of the fourth quarter. And welcome back to Mustang Arena once again. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, with 8 minutes to go here in the JV contest. The freshman contest, the Mustangs won handily. It was 40-something to 20-something. Now we are in the JV contest, and we're seeing classic Earl Graham on display here with a very deep bench from the Blue Darters. You see a lot of subs. In fact, you see a lot of 5-person subs where he effectively is taking a free timeout with the other half of the team. That is a very typical style for him. He coached here at Wekiva for several years along with Scott Williams when the school first opened. So these are all faces that we know very well here at Wekiva, and this is always a great rivalry contest when we have the opportunity to host it at least once a year and sometimes twice when we get into the playoffs.
For those of you who follow college athletics, of course, you know, Pittsburgh and West Virginia, they call that rivalry the backyard brawl. This could definitely be the high school version, at least in Central Florida. Everybody knows everybody, as you know, and of course, as we get closer to varsity tip-off, this atmosphere should become more electric and eclectic. It's always that style here. Of course, even now, I got here about 15, 20 minutes ago and was greeted by about 6 different people, 3 for Apopka, 3 for Wekiva. Everybody knows everybody, and we're seeing a good game here. As you mentioned, Mark, Apopka had a double-digit lead, a run there towards the end of the third quarter by Wekiva, cut the lead down to a couple of possessions. Neither team has been able to get on the board here at the start of the fourth quarter.
Mustang foul is called against number 1, Simeon McKell, on the push. That's his first personal foul, the team's third. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Jamarick Hammond.
So Wekiva did a very good job, created 3 turnovers during that run, which got them back under 10 points. Looks like they've kind of stalled out here as far as being able to keep that pressure and creating turnovers. Yes, we just got a turnover there. That was actually more of a break for Wekiva.
Yeah, that was an unforced error there as Apopka zigged when they should have zagged. And we're seeing a pretty good crowd develop here at Mustang Arena. We've got both sides of the gym open tonight, and we're filling it pretty well, especially, I mean, you know that the rivalry contest is always going to bring a good crowd out, but what we have working against us tonight is, first of all, some really terrible weather all day long, combined with the fact that today was the last day of school for the students prior to winter break. And so that could depress our numbers here tonight, but so far it doesn't seem to be materializing that way. We've got a pretty good crowd forming here in the JV contest, and we'll pause here for a foul. Another foul called against Simeon McKell. It's his second now and the team's fourth this half.
So both teams have had the ball twice now, Mark, and turnovers on all possessions. Again, Wekiva had a great opportunity to keep that momentum. They got the ball to start the quarter. Could have cut the lead down to 4 and possibly even 3. They were unable to, and this will be their third opportunity now.
Oh, a tough call there. Oliver tried to bounce it off of the Darters, see if he could get it to go out of bounds since he was trapped on a double team play. But instead he gets it stolen from him. We're going to get a foul instead against the Mustangs. Foul called against number 24, Jamie Oliver. That's his third personal. And the team's fifth at the line, shooting 2 for Apopka, Omar Lumberbach. So that was exactly what you didn't want to happen there.
Yeah, that was actually a very good defensive play there. Double coverage and trapped him. Actually, it was very textbook as far as the design. You want to cut off the court and force the offensive player to make a decision, which Oliver did. Unfortunately, his options as far as the right one were limited. Even if he did try to throw it over, there were 2 other Blue Darters in the background and probably would have intercepted the ball.
Right, so you're stuck between a steal, a 10-second violation, and that what actually happened, which was giving it away at the baseline, and then that turned into a foul.
So that's
the choice that Oliver made probably had the the highest probability of success out of any of his options, but the coverage by Apopka was just good enough that it was not going to work out for him. And here's another steal and an easy layup. Basket by Nakai Martinez.
And that was poor ball handling there. Dribbled it right into the defender. Just was not paying attention. Also trying to move too fast, and what was a 6-point lead is now back up to 3. Has been increased by 3 up to 9.
Wembley loses his dribble. Charles covers for him, gets it back to Wembley, gets a shot blocked. And the block and rebound goes to Lumberbatch, and now we're going to get a foul. Mustang foul is called against number 11, Jalen Studstill. That's his first personal, the team's 6th. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Simeon McKell. And so now the Darters will enjoy bonus for the rest of the game, the next 4 minutes and 53 seconds of it.
And that's usually a critical element of the game. I don't think I'm saying anything there out of the ordinary.
No, certainly not. Especially in a close game like this, those bonus free throws can make the difference. Nice blocked shot there by John Veer, but then it won't help the Mustangs as they turn it over at the other end. The steal there by Martinez.
And we've seen that throughout this fourth quarter here. Every time Wekiva makes a play, they then open the door for Apopka to do the same. They've yet to score here as we're almost halfway through the fourth period.
Omar Lumberbatch is fouled on his way up. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Mustangs' Fletcher Charles. He is 2nd and the team's 7th. First of 2 is good for Lumberbatch.
A good stroke there, particularly the follow-through. Get those arms extended there as the ball's being released.
Second is short. Steps in to get his own rebound, though, but then gives it away.
And now for the first time in several possessions, Apopka calls off the Dogs. They're going into a half-court defense instead of full court. And Wekiva needs a bucket here. They're down by 10. Again, what was a 6-point lead and at one point an opportunity to cut the lead down to 4, maybe even 3, has grown back up to 10.
Darter basket by number 23, Austin Lohman.
So interior defense broke down. And Apopka does a good job of passing, and the result is what was a 10-point lead has now grown back to 12.
Foul called against number 32, Omar Lumberbatch. That's his 2nd personal foul, the team's 4th. And a lot of personnel changes coming up here. Yeah, the Mustangs, ever since they got behind in the first quarter, they have been able to tread water and not lose too much more ground, but it's been floating between a 6 and a 12-point differential here pretty much since the opening couple minutes of the game. Foul's called against number 30, Chris Daniels, his 3rd personal foul, the team's 5th. Checking in, number 2, Brennan Johnson.
So Apopka remains a man-to-man. They have gone man-to-man for the majority of the game, significant majority. The only question is if it's going to be full court or half court. And there again, see that defense paying off. Another unforced error there. I realize it started from the ground, but nonetheless, that's a turnover which could have been avoided if some patience had been taken instead of trying to force the issue. Didn't really evaluate the situation. So.
Three is short. Rebound goes right back to the guy who shot it. That's Davis.
Again, good job there by Apopka knocking that ball out to the perimeter. And now you're seeing some real good passing.
Davis with
Getting
another
some
three.
open.
Can't get it. And a good try there by Johnson, but he has to bounce it into the Mustangs, and they're ready for it. And that was an unwise pass with three taller Blue Darters in front of him.
Yeah, another bad decision there. And again, that's why you play. Usually you play JV before going to varsity. That's something you learn from experience. You have to also be aware of the numbers, as well as the positioning and the situation of where the people on the court are.
Checking in for the Darters. Number 23, Austin Lohman, and the Mustangs will send back in Jamrock Hammond.
So just a little bit over 2 minutes, and actually now there is exactly 2 minutes.
Darter basket by Austin Lohman. Good deflection for Lohman at the other end, but it stays with the Mustangs. Checking back in for Wekiva, Fletcher Charles. And we'll pause. Yes. 30-second timeout called by Apopka. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to live action here at Mustang Arena. Last 2 minutes of this JV contest, and it is looking increasingly out of reach for the Mustangs, especially with maneuvers like that. Juwan Lohman on the pass from Nakai Martinez to steal two. That's 10 points in the books for Lohman of his team's 50. Mustang jump shot by Fletcher Charles. So a good look there by Charles. We just haven't seen enough of those, and we'll get a pass here from number 21 Martinez to number 2 Brandon Johnson.
So, again,
Timeout Mustangs. And it'll be charged as a full timeout for substitutions only. It's got to be a full. And while the Mustangs did not actually want the full timeout, they just wanted to make substitutions. Coach Graham will borrow a little time off of it anyway since we stopped the game. Coming up next, we have our varsity headline event, the Mustangs versus the Blue Darters in a critical district contest. We'll be live streaming that as well. For those of you who are listening to our JV webcast online, though, you will need to exit this webcast at the end of the game and start the next one. And more action on defense by the Darters as they're able to come up with another steal. A little bit too aggressive in transition, though, and they'll give it right back. Good look by Stud. Still can't get it to go. Chases his own rebound down. Back out to Charles for three. Short. Put back. Foul. Darter's foul called against number 12, Nigel Reynolds. That's his first personal on the team's sixth. And that will send the Mustangs, Jalen John Pierre, to the line, shooting two. Yeah, the network you want is just plain OCPS.
Yeah, I know, but it's not coming up there. None of the networks are coming up.
Oh for 2 at the free throw line is just nothing going right for the Mustangs, although they do get the offensive rebound there. The three attempt by Charles is short. Offensive rebound to Studstill, and he's got it. Studstill on the putback.
So now Wekiva is going to a full court defense here. Unfortunately, to use the old saying, too little, too late.
That takes us to the end of the JV contest. 52-38, the Darters take the victory in this JV game. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for coming out tonight or joining us on our webcast. To support your Mustang and Blue Darter athletes, don't go anywhere except the concession stand, or if you're at home, go to the kitchen and make yourself a snack, but come right back and join us for varsity action. We will be starting right at about 7:30. With varsity Mustangs versus Blue Darters. It will be on a different stream, though, so if you are watching online, make sure you exit this webcast and get into the varsity one on either YouTube Live or the NFHS Network. We'll see you in about 15 minutes. I assume that you were here to save the crowd from my crappy music. It's not what they like to hear.
We're old farts.